Morning guys, see where I am again, back in the workshop Tuesday morning. Still doing the Rivnut thing. Really fascinating. It's opened up a proper can of worms, and I really do appreciate all your inputs. Thanks ever so much. I did quote a few things wrong on the last little Rivnut video I did. Thanks Ben Dixie for putting me right on that. I can read, but I don't understand half the time. So I mentioned foot pounds, pounds foot, which of course is torque measurements. It was actually just pounds force. Was the I understood the letters, didn't understand the meaning correctly. So yeah, those figures should have been pounds force, which is just direct force on the threads and things like that. And Dominic, thank a hell of a lot for all that information regarding the fretting and the differential metal corrosion and all those sort of things. I've googled a bit more on it and asked about, causes of failures on Rivnuts, and all of those things were what you mentioned, to be honest. So still in the air, but I thought I'd do a little test before I make my mind up anyway. So there's a good chance I could fall both metaphorically and physically flat on my arse with this. So we'll see. I'll show you what I've done, spin this around, show you what I've done, and then you can laugh at me some more. Thanks guys. So I don't know whether you can see what I've done here. I have put a Rivnut through a piece of aluminium. Actually, I think this is slightly thinner than the aluminium that the plates are made of. I'll have another look, see if I can find some more, and we'll do the same thing with some thicker one, but I thought we'd try the thin one anyway. Rivnuts in, and I double checked my fixing method. They are very tight holes already, very little room for manoeuvre. I might do a bit of turning force when I play with it. If this survives this, and if I survive this, then all well and good. I shall try and see what torque they will take before they go. As you can see, put a bolt in, put a wire on it, and on the other end of the wire, if I can turn it round, is a stirrup. The only known weight quantity I have is myself, at pretty much 160 pounds. So if it takes 160 pounds on this, and it's going to be slightly angled as well, which is another point that came up, which is the struts are at an angle, so there will be a bit of shear force on there. So this is the idea. If I can set this camera up, you can watch me fall flat on my arse. So here we go. 160 pounds of thick Yorkshire bloke. I'm going to try and put my weight on without, obviously I need to keep my balance, but we'll see what happens. Here we go. So not very scientific, but as you can see, the Rivnut's still good. The aluminium's deformed slightly. I put it in a gap sort of similar to what I think the it was in the centre of that gap there, so it had a bit of play either side. The other ones are obviously triangular, and they have the extra bend up on the edges there, so I think that will give it a bit of strength. But that's clearly the Rivnut's good there. Quite pleased with that. Okay, so I'll just put a bit of torque on this and see how much effort it takes to spin it in the aluminium. It's just very unscientific, just a feel of it, but I think it's gone now really. Yeah, it's definitely spinning there now, so that's not great. It is a bit thinner aluminium, as I say, but that is definitely spinning. Yeah, so that wasn't great, really. Relatively easy to twist through it. Now what do? So there we go. As you can see, the prevaricating has ceased. I've made a decision and got on and changed the Rivnuts. What I've done is I've put as I was said, the bung in the top there. The main single reason is that I can check. Just peel that bung off and I can check the bolts. So when it comes to the 20-hour checks and that sort of thing, just a case of peeling off that bung and just checking everything's all right under there. And it'll be the same with those when they're done. So as you can see, I've taken the paint off, put the plastic ring on there, and covered it with a patch. That's just drying now. You can see it's still wet, so leave that to dry, get that ironed down, and then just drill through and put AN4 bolts in. Works fine. Left it rubber mounted. Again, not 100% certain whether that's the right thing to do, but I just think it'll just take some of those the vibration out of the that passes along that strut. We'll see in operation. But thanks ever so much for all your input on those Rivnuts. Really good stuff, really interesting conversations and interesting points. And as you can see, you've changed my mind, and we've gone with the belt and braces, AN4 bolts. I say the main reason is just take out the bung and you can just see how good the nut and bolt is, and if there's any problems in there. So that's the solution. Just leaving this to dry now. Got a drill through from the other side up through the strut. In fact, I can do the strut soon. And there we go. Problem solved. And it's not too obtrusive, is it? You can see from those bungs. They look all right, actually. Not bad at all. Just part of the aeroplane and the period it was made, I guess. So yeah, still haven't decided about the headrest. Been doing some more research on it, and it looks like most of the Russian ones had the headrest on them, from what I could tell, or maybe just a bit later models. But I just think it looks more aesthetically pleasing with the headrest on it. So, as you know, it's perfectly detachable. I'll wait until I've got some rubber around it, see what it looks like, and make up my mind then. Just take it off and bolt down the other bit. It's not a problem either way. But I just think it looks prettier like that. And it gives me thick head something to rest on. Here we are again, Monday morning. Not a great start to the week this week. A few problems. Not to do with the Nieuport build. These are all Sonex related. So we finished our permit, got renewed, and immediately had an engine failure. I'll tell you about it in a minute. Cheers. So there we are, bit of a sad sight. The Hellraiser sans wings. The wings are currently over there. We got them into the hangar last night, 11 o'clock at night, and just dumped them down for late on, but we're going to sort them today and have a look what happened. We haven't got the cowlings off yet, as you can see, but we had a total engine seizure, all in the greens. Everything was looking really good. Lee was flying, just popped down the road to a local airfield. It was 4 miles to run, and everything in the green, taking selfies, just having it, and then all of a sudden, serious vibration, lost a few hundred feet, lost power, and then sudden stoppage. So engine seized. Big problem, certainly financially for me. I don't know whether our insurance is going to cover that, but we shall see what goes on, but it is a bit of a blow. But luckily Lee was good. Lee did a fantastic job of the landing out in a field, stubble field. Luckily they've done all the harvesting early this year, so there's lots of stubble fields available. But he did a cracking job, not a mark on it. Really good job of landing. He's fine. So yeah, apart from the got to make a few phone calls to the CAA and stuff and let them know what's happened, air investigation, all that sort of thing, air accident investigation. Just got to inform them. But yeah, bit of a blow. So I don't know what's going to happen for the next few weeks. We shall see. I'll keep you informed. But as I say, this isn't the Nieuport build. This is not my personal problems. All right, guys. There's more to come. So I know it's not the Nieuport build, and you may not be interested, but I just thought I'd show you the perils of flying. Lee was flying the Jabiru at the weekend, and out of nowhere we had a major incident, major engine failure, and if you can see that, we had acquired something of a hole in the crank casing, and just to the right of that, where the crank casing is deformed and split, and just down on the other side of that, if you can see down there, where are we, just down there, there is another hole. It's not very visible in this light, but there is another hole right through, and you can see from that hole we put a borescope in. You can see right into the cylinder, and you can see the valves. So the valves of this starboard rear cylinder. So the piston, either the piston head has gone totally, or the piston's just disintegrated, and the conrod's gone through the crankshaft, gone through the crank casing. So yeah, bit of a downer for a weekend, shall we say. Lee did a fantastic job of putting the aeroplane down in one piece. Not a mark on the aeroplane, but the engine is certainly US now. It's beyond all hope, I think, that one, to be honest. So what the score will the Sonics will be, I have no idea. But that's just a little aside from the Nieuport build. These are my problems, not yours. And coming back to the Nieuport build, as you can see, I have just started toying with a windscreen. It's just well, I mean, it might be a usable item, but the big problem is the only way of holding it down are those three bolts, three nuts through there, three screws into anchor nuts there, and there's going to be an awful lot of blast against that, so I'm thinking that it will really need some sort of support to the to those that V strut there. So I'm thinking that's what I'm going to look at next. Just mock up something. Whether it'll you know, whether this will be the final incarnation, I don't know, but there's not a lot of options. It desperately needs a screen. Having flown a Tiger Moth for my renewal, you know just what the blast is coming back from a propeller, even a very low powered engine like the one I'm putting on this. So that's currently what I'm working on. The final vision image of the tail, and that is now all done with the rubber bungs in place. I can now they're all bolted on, AN4 bolts, and I have got the ability to inspect the connections both sides now. So that's solved that problem. Rivnuts are out the window, so I may put them in them struts. In that V strut there. They might be really handy in there. Okay guys, probably the last episode of this before I download it. I don't know what I've got. It's been a bit of a hectic week this week, so yeah, I think that's going to look alright. I have had a sit in, and the screen seems to be in the right place. I think it just needs some support against them struts. So that's the current situation with the build. It looks alright, but to be honest, this aluminium I've used which is just some I had hanging around, really isn't strong enough. You can see it's torn a bit there with any pressure on it. There's no room to put any screws through, as you can see. I'm going to have to rethink this, I think. And again, it's starting to tear where there's any pressure, because I've had to curve it by hand to get it round. I mean, look, it looks all right, but it's just never going to be strong enough, that, and I either need to look at some steel, possibly guttering, channeling, whatever they call it. But that's not going to work. But it looks nice. Current situation with the build. Waiting for the engine mount still. I know he's a very busy man, is Dean. Lots of work and lots of jobs on at the minute. So I'm away on holiday at the end of next week. So whether I'll get another episode out before then, I don't know. But I'm away for a couple of weeks, so there might be a bit of a hiatus on the build until I'm back. If that's the case, I'll see you in about 3-4 weeks' time, something like that. Cheers, guys. Bye.